Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Group Chat.
Dun, 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 dun.
Nice. A lot of good energy today, man. Midweek, we're feeling good.
We're all hyped up on this liquid IV.
Liquid
We're
IV
hyped
and
up.
vaccines, baby.
We're hydrated, and Anand's back. We're going to talk about where he went. And speaking of Liquid IV, we have a really great interview with Brandon Cohen, the Liquid IV founder, who not only built a great business, but had an incredible exit to a major CPG company. We're going to talk about all of it.
Yeah, this is a must listen. It's a really
And
great
we asked
interview.
the questions that I wish they asked more on entrepreneurial podcasts. Like, what the hell are you doing with all the newfound cash?
How rich are you? Those are the questions we're trying to get the answers to.
And
We know what the
kind of-
people care about.
And he answers it pretty honestly.
Yes.
And I'll say, for all of our, lady Kathys out there, pay close attention to this one. Your future might be in here.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you know a female that this can work out for, get them involved.
Okay.
Have them listen.
Yeah, tap in, shoot your shot. That's the lesson of
Yeah,
today's
even
pod.
if you're committed in a committed relationship, refer this episode to lady friends.
we might have a better option.
Sometimes it's called leveling up. NBA shoot your shot.
Oh my God.
This might be
Okay,
bigger
so
than
then-
NBA Top Shot.
Yeah, I agree. So then we have a lot of other news to talk about. We're talking about Chinatown Market, a lot of controversy, apparently a big change coming there. We're talking about NBA Top Shot. Talking about Substack. We're asking if people still read at all and if there is a bright future for the newsletter, because there's some people with a lot of money who seem to think so. Also, Cameo, the app where you can get little videos from celebrities, doing way better than I was aware of. And Clubhouse has a brand new competitor that if I was over there in the Clubhouse, I would be very frightened of.
Okay.
That's it. We end the episode with what you might have missed on social media with our As Seen on Social segment. And that's it. Great episode. Who's ready?
Let's
Me.
go.
Let's do it.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Brandon, welcome to the pod, man.
Thanks, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. We've talked about you a lot. I think you might have been like one of our Entrepreneur of the Year or something like that. We've talked about you a lot. We've talked about the product a lot. So excited to chat.
Thanks, man. That's an honor. I didn't get the award in the mail, but I'm really honored
Yeah,
to be the
Yeah, we're
Entrepreneur
having
of the
budget
Year.
issues. We're having budget issues with
Maybe you
with the
guys could
physical
spend
awards.
spend a little more money on advertising, and we'll give you a fucking
We'll
award.
get you a fucking
We'll get
trophy.
you an NFT award. All digital.
Charge us a little bit more. I want that gold statue behind me up there.
Okay, deal.
By the way, Brandon and Drama look exactly alike. So if you're watching this
My
on
twin.
YouTube, it's definitely like the rich white guy look.
Yeah,
so
I hope our exits look exactly alike.
Yeah.
It's a white T-shirt for people who aren't watching YouTube. The white rich guy look is a white T-shirt,
Yeah,
Yeah,
a hat, and some tattoos.
and
Hats, a
AirPods.
must,
Yeah.
scruffy face,
Nice
Little
beard.
scruff.
shows a little bit of edge, and
AirPods.
then a couple
AirPods.
tattoos and AirPods. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no
I'm gonna
pants.
cut.
Yeah.
No,
And
exactly.
zero- yeah, haven't worn pants in a week.
Exactly. I got to
You're
work on
welcome,
the ink
twin.
a little bit, but
My twin, welcome to the podcast.
thanks, man.
Hey, if I'm ever out or whatever, maybe you just fill in. I mean,
Hey, we'll trade.
We'll
I'll
just-
just tap you in. You go in, and we're good to go.
Good deal.
Um,
Where do we start here, guys?
I mean,
There's a lot to talk about.
there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I guess, Brandon, when did you start Liquid IV?
The end of 2012.
So I think that's a great place to start because, when people read like the big headline that you exited, I think a lot of people think this happens very quickly. And 2012 is 9 years ago now. And, I think I met you probably 3, 4, 5 years ago, probably in that range. And I remember kind of just hearing the story about how, and correct me if I'm wrong, is a lot of your buddies in baseball were drinking Pedialyte for hydration. And you found that as like, why the hell are you drinking Pedialyte?
So
Yeah.
can we start actually? Because I met Brandon a little after you. You introduced me to Brandon, and the brand had already taken off. So we're talking 3-4 years ago. Let's talk about before it took off, from 2012 till 3 or 4 years ago, because that's the part entrepreneurs in training or people who want to be entrepreneurs don't fully understand all the work that goes in before the launch point. And I think that would be really interesting to hear that story as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think people don't know this, but from 2012 to 2017, we had done under $1 million in sales total.
Wow.
So like people always say to me like, you know, you're an overnight success. And I'm like, in 2014, when I was driving around all day, Saturday, Sunday, begging store owners to put our product on the shelf for free, and then driving around early in the week to go buy the product out of the store and then have them reorder. Like no one really knows about those parts of the business, right? Like we were just like totally bootstrapping it to get it off the ground. And yeah, I mean, that went on. You know, we have friends, you know, we're friends with some of these guys who had a lot quicker growth stories where they were making tens of millions of dollars within the first few years direct to consumer. And, you know, for me, it took 5 years before we even made our first million. And then the ramp really started to happen. And I think it did because, you know, we really built like a really sound business that was really sort of authentic in its roots, like a really grassroots business. But, you know, then we went from, you know, that small amount of sales to, you know, hundreds of millions by 2020. So, yeah, it's been a wild journey. You know, from 2012 to 2017, we were, you know, there were 3 or 4 or 5 of us for 5 years. We had, you know, we went through $200,000 in cash in 5 years. Like that's how, you know, bootstrapped we were. And then the business really started to take off like 2018 through 2020.
And how did you find the opportunity? Because like, I want to go back to the Pedialyte story because I remember when you told me that, I was like, damn, that's like, obviously today hydration is like very en vogue. And I think I'll credit, you know, you for creating that movement because I don't think people were talking about hydration like they are in terms of all these products that are available today until you kind of made a big splash. So why wasn't it a big deal like 8-9 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of like for the longest time, water was what we used to hydrate. And then like 40 years ago, Gatorade came around and like they were truly revolutionary, right? They put other stuff in your water that made it taste better and help you, you know, quote, perform better. And then there really hadn't been any advancement in it in a really long time. And you know, people were looking for alternatives, and that's kind of where the idea came about. Is, you know, I was down in the dugout of the baseball stadium when I was in my first job out of school, like 22, 23 years old, and these guys were all drinking Pedialyte, which I just thought was silly that the best athletes in the world were drinking a drink that was designed for little kids when they had access to all the best products, right? Like it just made no sense to me. And then, you know, I saw my young professional friends were using it for hangovers, and I saw business professionals using it for, you know, dehydration when they were traveling. And I was like, there's something wrong with this picture. Like people are going to the baby aisle in the store to buy something, you know, to help them for something different. And so the original idea was, what if you could, you know, I started studying the science of hydration, and I won't take you guys through it, but essentially sodium and glucose when mixed together with water is just clinically proven to help water absorb in your bloodstream a lot faster. And our whole thing was, what if you could make a healthier version of that, build upon the science, take all the crap that's in it, and then put a cool adult lifestyle brand around it. And obviously it, you know, transformed it to be, you know, a lot, but the base was that, like, you know, there was something being used for the wrong purpose. Like what if you could make a way healthier version and market it to the right audience?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's such like, it sounds so simple now, but like it's really genius because there are so many use cases of products that are, meant for one demographic. And if you really repackage it, refocus it, improve on it, you could sell it to a completely different demographic. And like, it sounds so simple, but the fact that you did it and you kind of built this brand off of it is definitely like the story here. How did you like, you know, marketing a CPG brand is so freaking hard, right? Like it is just incredibly difficult to cut above the noise. And, you know, what were the things that you did that actually like catapulted the business? Because like I remember when you announced your celebrity investors, and forget how much money they invested. I think it was just like you created a marketing moment there that was like, because people pitch me all the time. I'm going to do what Brandon did. I'm going to get 6 celebrities and I'm going to do this. And I was just
I'm
like,
gonna do what Brandon did.
yeah. And I'm just like, which part are you going to do?
Yeah.
Reinvent the category?
The only part that would actually be interesting is you're willing to drive around stores all Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
If that's what you're going to do with Brandon did,
Yeah.
then that's interesting.
Yeah, just get a bunch of celebrities and invest. That's not enough. So, what do you think was like your tipping point in terms of from a marketing standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, the product, what we learned really early, like when we would like do sampling and demoing at like Whole Foods, like we got into one Whole Foods in Venice, and I would just like sample and demo the product every weekend. Like when people tried it, they loved it. Like whether it was like, like an athlete or whether it was like an elderly person who was having, a hard time drinking water, or, all these different audiences. When people tried it, they not only loved the taste, which I think was a big advantage for us over, other copycats that were popping up, but they loved the way it made them feel. And so we heavily invested in sampling. Like we were just like, we got to get the product in people's hands, and we're going to bet on ourselves, bet on the product, that when people try it, they're going to love it and come back and buy. So, especially when we were launching in retail before our Amazon and our direct to consumer business, like really picked up and became a marquee part of the business. Like we invested heavily in getting product into people's hands, whether it was in store at Whole Foods or Costco or at events or even like digital sampling. Like the idea was when people tried it, we were betting on the fact that they would love it and come back and buy our product. So it's not like, it's some magic trick that like, I wish I could tell you like there's some trick magic bullet that made it work. But over time, if you're handing out enough product to people and it's a good product, right? It only works if the product's good. People are going to come back. And then, that was like truly what gave us the momentum from 2012 to 2018. And then we did some cool things. We brought in an incredible, VP of marketing who had done a lot of stuff in the beauty space before. And so she put together some of these really cool ideas where, we were getting these like epic influencer boxes out, at first she had to pitch me on spending so much money on these boxes that were going out. And I was like, we can't spend this on these boxes and give them out for free. But then people started opening them on Instagram story, and all of a sudden it's like, a lot of these brand plays, they're hard to measure, but they raise the level of the water like 3 inches and you can't really see it, but like the brain keeps growing. I think that celebrity round was another example of that. Like I can't tie any revenue to that round, but like, a lot of people come up to me and are like, hey, I found out about Liquid IV, when you did that round with those celebrities. So I think that the core, like the real answer is like having a great product and getting into people's hands and trusting that. And then, doing some cool, bigger brand plays like that round, or, like these influencer boxes, or, we sponsored the Super Bowl, other stuff like that. But the core was really just trusting the product and sampling it.
I gotta say, like, maybe I'm gonna sound like a bro here, but because I might be biased, but I would say your guys' ads with Joe Rogan are some of the most effective ads he does, because he is such like an athlete and like he's an older dude, and so people probably wonder how he recovers and stuff like that. But he talks about Liquid IV, like even not in ads. Like he'll just tell other athletes on the show, like, "Oh, have you ever tried Liquid IV?" Like blah blah blah. That had to be really effective for you guys.
Big. I mean, for the first time we advertised with them, obviously that's like a really big spend, and like that's a big bet you're making. And like right away, we just saw incredible response, both, from a revenue perspective and just people talking about it. And then the real kicker was when he would just be on the show, like, every other show, he would just out of nowhere be like, "Hey guys, bring that stuff out. You got to try this. Like, you don't need to drink anything else ever again." And like, that's the kind of stuff where that's like that word of mouth, that, old school marketers, like word of mouth, but like that's people talking about it so unprompted that it's truly genuine. And, I think the other thing is a lot of people with their products have to find the perfect like face of their brand in order to get that organic, people organically talking about it. And I think because early on when people kept telling me, you have to go after one audience, like you don't have enough money to go after everybody. They're like, either pick athletes or pick people who have hangovers or pick, elderly. And I was like, no. I hear you guys, but Liquid IV is for everybody. Like hydration is for everybody. The audience is smart enough to know how hydration is important for them. And so we kept it broad.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, as people tried it, you go read Amazon reviews. It's like everybody has their own special way they use it. Some drink it before the workout. Some drink it after. Some use it on airplanes. Some drink it before they go out at night. You know, like some drink it in the morning after they had too much wine. Like it's just like crazy. So I think that was just another thing where it just amplified the brand times. You know, once we got that momentum, it was just like the tipping point in 2018-19 was everyone was talking about it. Like you couldn't go anywhere without someone talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I sent it to my parents when they had COVID, and that was like their lifesaver, you know, like they just were chugging liquid IV because even water felt like gross. You know what I mean? Like you know, when you're so sick, like even water sucks.
Totally.
And like they loved it, man. So it definitely is used for anything across the
cool,
board.
Man. I love hearing stories like that. Like I get messages about people who had COVID and it helped them through. Like that was another thing, was like we started having like some like top doctors unprompted recommend. So we'd have people reach out and say, hey, my doctor XYZ told me I have to take this. And when you have doctors repping your product, you know, unprompted, it's just like, it doesn't get much better than that in terms of, you know, a credible source, you know?
Mm-hmm.
No, that makes sense, because in the beginning of COVID, was it hydrochloroquine? Was the original?
Yeah. Before liquid IV, that's what was being prescribed.
So I'll ask, you know, just to move the conversation along, how rich are you now?
Wait, hold on. That's probably the most important question of the interview. I just want to ask one more thing, because we have so many young entrepreneurs that listen, and I think this is the toughest part about being an entrepreneur. So you started the company, it sounds like, in your mid to late 20s. And you said
early 20s.
Early 20s. So it took 5 years to even get any traction to make this a viable business. At that same point, your peer group, I'd assume, that weren't entrepreneurs, were young professionals advancing their careers, getting pay raises and living better lives, spending money, going on trips. And that's like got to be tough mentally. And I think that's the part of entrepreneurship people don't understand. Like you have to have such belief. And like, how did you deal with that? Because I'm sure you had friends that were just like crushing it, being a lawyer, being this, being a banker, and they're making all this money. And you're like, I'm still grinding it out on a Saturday at 5 p.m. at this convenience store.
Yeah. No, it's so true. Looking back now is when I realize how much I actually sacrificed. But in the moment, I was never one to look around too much. And like, I was just so I'm so obsessive and relentless when it comes to like, I set my mind to something, I want to make it happen. And so I just like, for the most part, I just was like such tunnel vision. It made it kind of easy to say no to a lot of stuff, because I saw this vision. I knew I could make it happen, and I just blocked so much of it out. But, you know, when I think back of like, you know, people are going to Coachella or they're going on a trip and everyone's making money, and like, I'm literally losing money. Like I'm just, like you said, grinding late at night on weekends. You know, looking back, I definitely sacrificed a lot, but in the moment I was just so late, like tunnel vision on making it happen that I just didn't let it get to me. I really did. I mean, but there's sacrifices. I mean, look at me. I'm 33. I'm single. I haven't done a lot of the stuff that my friends have done. And so that's why, you know, I'm excited for sort of this next phase of my life where I want to live it a little bit and experience some of these things that I didn't before. But I wouldn't change one thing. I mean, I love the grind. I love the challenge of building what we were building.
Congrats to you too, because you got rich before you had to be like the old creepy dude, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So back to your question, D?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Brandon, I don't feel fucking sorry for you.
Yeah.
Single.
I only feel bad if you had a kid right now.
Yeah.
That's
The
when I
guy
feel
just
bad.
posted a picture on a
Yeah.
private jet. Fuck
Multiple
off.
pictures. Yeah. Breakfast looked good on there, you know what I mean?
So
let's talk about what got you.
So, you know, what are we talking here? How rich are you?
I've signed a lot of documents saying I can't really talk too much about it, but I'm in a great spot.
Was that a G5, a Challenger? Where are we looking?
Where were you heading, huh?
I know it's not a Cessna. I'll tell you that much.
I think it was a G5. Yeah.
There you go. That
Okay,
puts some
there you go.
parameters on how much money you've made.
So to walk us through, like, I don't know what you could share, but like, how did the acquisition with Unilever happen? Unilever is like, it's Unilever and Procter & Gamble. They control the consumer space in the world. And like, how does that even happen? Like, were you looking for an exit? Did you hire a banker? Did they just show up one day and say, we love what you're doing?
Yeah. I think what was so genuine about what we built is that we didn't, from the start, even when people asked me, like on podcasts and stuff, we didn't build the business for an exit. Truly, like genuinely, when I was doing all my planning and visioning, it was always like, we were so focused on creating a great product for the consumer. And, you know, this sort of massive mission of mine, I call it CTW, change the world, help people everywhere live better lives, was we really built the team and everything about the business around that. And then like, kind of like in 2019, when we started hitting this like crazy hockey stick growth, and there were opportunities that frankly we couldn't address because it was happening so quickly. And like in business, like you just know, like everything doesn't continue like this forever, right? Like there's always some sort of plateau. And so kind of in 2019, I started talking about it with some of the leadership team. And I was like, hey guys, I know everyone came here to build this thing. You know, there's opportunities like global. We did all of this, hundreds of millions in revenue just in the United States. We were saying no to huge opportunities globally because we just didn't have the resources to do it, or the people, or the time, or anything. And so basically we started talking about it at the end of 2019. We decided 2020 would be a really good time. We just based on a lot of factors that I won't get into. Little did we know the pandemic was going to hit. So yeah, we kind of like went to market, you know, to talk to, you know, let's call it like 50 of the top corporate potential acquirers in the world. And literally the day that we did, we had been planning it for a few months. The day that we did was like the day that the world shut down in March, in March of 2020. So,
wow.
I mean, just for perspective, it was like, I can't imagine a more intense 12 months personally. Like the business, first you go remote. We don't know what's going to happen with the business. We stopped hiring. We didn't know how to run a business remote. Meanwhile, I couldn't even talk about what we were doing with the acquisition. Like I had to keep it completely, you know, quiet because we didn't know if we were going to do it. We didn't want to distract the team. And then on top of that, the business we already had a massive aggressive growth plan for the year, and we doubled that plan. So the business is scaling like crazy. We're completely remote. We're trying to hire remote. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, I'm like almost single-handedly with a few of the top leaders that live, like running this process. So it was just, I mean, it was, I wish we had filmed it. Like it was so crazy, like a documentary could be filmed about this thing. But it came down to a few.
Can I ask one question real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry, when the pandemic hit, because I've heard that story with CPG companies that service the grocery market world, like Costco, whatever, Ralph's, etc. When did that explosion happen? Was it April? Was it as soon as lockdown hit, or did it take a while?
So it was so interesting how it all played out. And like the way I wanted to address it as the leader of the company was like, I want to make sure we have options everywhere. Like if a supplier closes because the plant gets COVID, I want to make sure we have backup 3 suppliers there. Like I was like, we cannot go out of stock. People need our product right now more than ever. And with retail, you know, when everything shut down and no one would leave their house, all of our retail went to almost zero, right? And that was a big part of our business. But, you know, thank God we had this omni-channel business. Amazon and our website just spiked like crazy. So that carried the business for a few weeks. And then the stores opened up, and then the stores, if you remember, like had these crazy blowouts as well. And so what happened for us was our Amazon and liquidiv.com business never dropped, and our retail business jumped up from where it was before. So now our entire business had, you know, grown by like 50, 60%, like really, really quickly. So yeah, in terms of timing, the answer is that like in April, when people started going to the stores again in limited capacity, our product was flying off the shelves. Like we were moving double all of our forecasts. And again, on top of that, the online business it popped up when people started realizing they could buy our product from home, and it never dropped off. So it was a huge, I mean, frankly, you know, hydration, these necessary things like hydration just were top of mind in terms of health and wellness. And it ended up being, the business ended up doing really well through it all. So I'll take you back to the question was about the acquisition. So we like July, August, we had it narrowed down to a few that we thought would be the best partners for our team, for the brand, for the future of the business, like in order to take it globally, culturally. And Unilever just stood out. They have, sustainability is huge for us. We're giving out a lot, we're selling a lot of product, and they have a huge sustainability mission with all their consumer products. And we sort of just weighed the options, and they were head and shoulders above, and we decided to go with them and announced it in September.
And I noticed on Instagram you announced you stepped away as CEO. What does that mean?
Yeah, this was a really hard decision. Obviously, like 9 years. It's like, I'm sure it's like having a kid and sending them to college or something when you've dedicated your entire life to making their life good, and then you have to let them go. Like I was being pulled in different directions personally and emotionally with it because, once you sell your company, you're no longer, it doesn't, no matter what, no matter how good the partner is that you sell to, like, it's a lot different. Right. And naturally, like, you have a giant corporation. We were a fast growing startup, and you have one of the world's biggest corporations that's publicly traded. And for me, what I realized, it was just like, my mission is change the world, and Liquid IV could now become a $10 billion company globally over the next 10 years. My team is in a great position with security they've never had before. When you're in a startup, you don't have any of that security, and they're probably the most sought after employees around. They built this business. They went through an acquisition. So some of my fears around the brand and the team sort of lessened. And then I realized, from an efficiency standpoint, like I like to innovate. I like to create. Like I can go create other products and services that are going to help the world, and Liquid IV can keep growing. And once I got really comfortable with that, it was just the right time. I was 6 months, and the team's in a good spot. The business is in a good spot. Unilever's good. And now I'm going to go enjoy life a little bit, but really I have some big ideas that I want to see out.
So what was
Can I ask you?
Go ahead.
Can I ask you one quick question? Is like, when you say go enjoy life, like, you don't got to tell us what private jet you're taking to enjoy life, but like, honestly, like for a guy who sacrificed through his 20s to work, and now you have this payday in mid 30s. What's on the list? What's first on the list?
Early 30s. Don't age him too
don't.
much.
Early. Sorry.
Yo, John, if we're gonna be trading in and out, like,
bro,
we gotta
I'm
be on the
sorry.
same
I
page
get it,
here.
man. I get it.
You
Listen,
can't be adding years to me, dude.
I know, bro. It's because I'm 34, and these guys always try to make me feel old. So I put that off on you, and I apologize.
All right, thank you. I accept. For me, health is a really big thing. Like I didn't talk about it, but I went through a lot of health stuff in the last few years, like and I blocked it all out because I was just so obsessed with getting us to this finish line. So I've kind of become obsessed with like being in, like, I love optimization. It's kind of why I started the business in the first place. Like, how do we optimize, right? And so like I bought a house, which is cool. And one of the main parts of the house is like, I have all these different health things that I like to do. Like, I guess people call it biohacking. So like, I got a cryo machine, I got an infrared sauna, I got like this red light laser, just like working out, yoga, like really trying to get into like the peak shape that I never got into because I was just working 15, 16, 17 hours a day. So it's one thing I'm really passionate about. And so that's at the top of my list. And then as soon as the world opens up, like, I'm just excited to travel, to just explore different cultures and just travel a bit. And hopefully along that path, I'll meet a significant other that I can share that with.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know we have a lot of female listeners, and I know we tried to find Tim a match, and Tyrell. I think Brandon might be a little
easier, maybe a bit more lucrative too.
Brandon, I don't want to be presumptuous, but are you pansexual? Are you asexual? We have to be very politically correct, so I want to make sure we're not. What are you interested in?
I date girls. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we have a lot of female listeners that are very smart, very business savvy, and could be, potentially the right partner. So I would be, if we could get a wedding out of group chat match.
You imagine?
Brought to you by Liquid
Yeah, I
IV.
mean, not to steal a clubhouse term, but shoot your shot.
Oh,
Brandon.
Yeah. Slide in those DMs. What's your Instagram, Brandon? Where do people reach out to?
The lady.
Brandon _Cohen.
Okay.
on Instagram. Yeah. That would be some good content if you have like a group chat wedding.
Yes, it would be so
Imagine
good.
if we like
At least
host
we
your
know we
wedding.
have to pay for travel. And Brandon's fucking flying us private.
There you go.
Imagine
There
your
you
wedding hosted by group chat because we made the connection.
The three of you guys are up on the wedding stand reading all the stuff.
and it's Brandon with an I, BRANDIN _
Don't DM Liquid IV. I'm not gonna be the one you're gonna want to.
Yeah, that's going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Where do you want to travel the first? That's my next question.
I mean, right now the States is obviously easy because it's doable, but I hope I don't know. I haven't really made a list. I'm just gonna kind of go with the wind. I mean, there's a few places on my list, but yeah, nowhere first. It's on the top.
And let me ask you a question. So you're a successful young man now. Who are you going to hang out with? Are you going to like still hang out with your homies from back in the day, or are you going to leave them behind?
No, again, this is my first time going through it. So
he's like, I didn't have friends. Who are my friends?
It's a one-man show over here.
I'm kind of feeling it out. You know, I've talked to a lot of founders who have gone through it, and they all have different experiences. Like sometimes their old friends, like, you know, like want a lot of stuff from them, and so there's like some resentment and some weird stuff that goes on there. I think I'm really fortunate. I just have like, you know, I'm really close with my family. I have old friends that I think I'll stay in touch with. I think I'm excited for like, you know, the opportunity at like, you know, meeting new people as well. So I don't know. I'm really kind of like very open-minded to the whole thing. I don't like have a set plan on some of these more personal fronts. You know, I've always had business plans, but never really a personal plan.
That's amazing. So my last question. So like, you know, I know you don't want to share too much, but like, what do you want to do now? I mean, for the rest of your life, because you have like a very bright future ahead. You obviously have a big vision. Are you able to share any like some of your passion and what you want to do? Yeah,
I think the coolest thing now that I've had a little bit of time to reflect on it is like the like relationship, like obviously financial freedom to pursue something that's a huge win, right? But like I think more valuable than that is like sort of like the relationships or the human capital that I've built. Like all 20 of those celebrities are like, you know, what are you doing next? We're ready to go. Like, and I have, you know, some of these relationships where when I'm ready to sort of dive all the way in to my next thing, there's like a lot of credibility, which I'm just so grateful for, like that I was able to sort of, you know, build those relationships and then get everybody a win, right? Get like a win under my belt, which was pretty cool. The things I'm most passionate about now are like sustainability, renewable energy for me, just because I've experienced a lot of it with like all of the packaging and transportation and a lot of the stuff that we dealt with Liquid IV. I just think there's such a huge opportunity to like help the future of, you know, like humankind, but also anything that's that big and can help the future. Like also there's a huge business opportunity there. So, you know, I think I don't want to rush into anything. I think there's like $100 million opportunities and then there's like $100 billion opportunities. And I want the next thing that I dive into, and it's not about money. It's about impact. I think money is a way to measure the impact you can have. But like, I want to dive into something that says, when I'm ready to go full speed again and go obsessive and sacrifice my health and all these things that I did, I want it to be like the biggest thing. And so I'm kind of feeling it out. I'm dabbling in a couple of things right now, but I think most likely if I had to bet on it, it would be in renewable energy and sustainability are two areas I'm really passionate about.
Amazing.
And my last question is, I know you said you had some time to reflect and kind of decide what you want to do in the future. What does that look like in the course of a day? Do you get up and just get a notebook out and start writing things? Do you just go for a run and think? Like, how does that even manifest?
Yeah, I'm like crazy regimented. So like, even though I don't have like my structured, you know, Liquid IV schedule anymore, like I didn't know how I would be, but I'm like really, really regimented with it all. Like, and I do some interesting stuff. Like people might think it's like kind of woo woo stuff, but I wake up and I do gratitude. I write a gratitude journal every morning, just like a few things that I'm grateful for. I actually try not to, I don't look at my phone until I'm done with that. And then I open my phone and I just try and get caught up on emails, texts, calls, all that sort of stuff. And then I look at my calendar and I set my, after I know my schedule, I set my intentions for the day. So like, it's so easy with so many people coming, like there's so much action right now to like not focus on the things that are actually like going to help me accomplish what I want in that day. And so I try and set just 3 objectives every day. Sometimes they're the same for a while too, but it allows me to say no to a lot of stuff, which I'm not that good at. I'm trying to get better at it because I think it's like an empathetic thing. I want to like help everybody, but I've been like getting a lot better at saying no to things. And I think it's because of the intentions I set for the day. And then I go through my whole health routine. So like I work out, Peloton, weight training, whatever. And then
nice, Brand. Hey, me and you are twins, man. I like this.
I don't care for
You
your
guys can
Peloton usage.
ride together.
Yeah.
I like it.
We will.
Man. Maybe we'll
We
patch
will.
in on a class or whatever you do.
yeah, exactly. Well, honestly, if I'm too tired and I want to keep my streak going, I'll just let you sign into my name and that you look the same. We're all good.
I like
We're all
that.
good.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, a bunch of health stuff. And then, the key is journaling for me has been huge. Like it's my way. I used to hate, it was so hard for me. And now I open it up and I just start writing in there. And it's like I get it out of me and I get it into this book. And then like, I feel like this weight lifted off my shoulder. And then because I've been doing it for 3 years, I go back through like the hardest times of my life and I'm able to see that I've already dealt with things like this and worked through them before. So yeah, journaling is probably the main thing that's helped me, that's helped me sort of like work through my ideas. And then just like working out, staying in shape, just like these endorphins they help me think right.
Amazing.
Thank you, Brandon.
Good stuff, man. Congrats.
Congrats.
Thanks, Scott.
And well deserved. And enjoy.
And thanks for the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use code group chat.
25% off at liquidiv.com.
And if one of you guys end up with Brandon, I think we'll triple that sponsorship.
Yeah.
So, ladies,
I'll personally sponsor group chat. If you guys find me my wife.
Yeah, we'll just talk about your journaling and stuff every episode.
So yesterday, Brandon woke up around 5:30 in the
And
morning.
did some yoga.
He urinated, and then he wrote.
What he's grateful for.
He was thankful for the hydration.
someone-
Thankful for his G5.
Hey, if you guys want group chat to keep going, someone's got to marry Brandon.
I'll be like, is this an organic read? You'll be like, no, Brandon's just paying us to read about his life.
I like that.
Oh my god!
Good stuff. All right,
Well,
thank
guys,
you, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I really love what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank
Totally.
you, Brandon.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Are you feeling sluggish? Are you feeling tired? Is your stock portfolio down?
Ooh.
Are you not having enough sex? Tim?
Are you asking us? I don't know.
This feels
It's a
very
rhetorical
directed.
question. But now I was like, I'm curious now from Tim. But I have a solution for you.
Okay.
It's not a magic pill.
Oh,
It'll take 30 days.
really?
It's a 30-day program. All you have to do is run 1 mile a day.
Wow.
And things will turn around for you. So head over to grandrunningclub.com, sign up for the Mile a Day Challenge, and change your life. And drink some liquid IV, have some athletic greens while you're at it. All things that are about your health and wellness. We just heard Brandon talking about health and wellness. This is a great way to kickstart it. April 1st, we start.
Yes.
Mile a Day Challenge. It's literally 1 mile a day. You can walk or run. Sign up, track, get a little goodie box of stuff that we're going to send to you if you sign up. And you'll see the difference in your life, in your health, mind, body, spiritual, stock portfolio.
Even taking the time, especially being cooped up for so many months because of
Yeah.
quarantine, this is a great opportunity to like really get back outside and
Yes.
start experiencing that warm weather again. It's nice here in Southern California, but like all over, starting to warm back up.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
And you're going to have to be outside soon.
Yes.
And you got to look good.
Yeah, do not show up to the fucking first summer party looking like an absolute bum.
Yes.
Kidding fucking shit. Even I'm on that route right now.
Yeah.
To not be looking like a
I'm
bum.
cut out
so-
carbs this week.
Wow.
Yeah, I need to
I'm
lose
going
some
full
weight.
keto next month. So.
Yeah, it's time.
Really, Pete?
Yeah, I
It's-
have to.
it's-
I gotta get this off.
It's game time now.
Yeah,
It's game
yeah.
time. Summer's here.
Why did you put on a quarantine?
Oh, are you fucking kidding me?
Acid
Well,
thighs.
you saw me ass and thighs, baby. You see me too much to like really notice it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think it's steadily been put on. But oh yeah, good 10, 15.
Yeah.
I'm bigger than I've ever been.
Wow.
But
Mile a day challenge for you.
I'm gonna need 2. 2
2 miles a day. Yeah, if you want to lose double the weight, do 2 miles a day.
Yeah.
grandrunningclub.com, sign up. The amount of stuff you'll get for free and the deals is worth it in itself.
Yes.
But really, you should do it for the run.
All right. Good stuff, man. Big fan of Brandon. You did an incredible job. It's another one of the products that we actually really use like frequently. And just a success story. That's like what group chat's all about,
Yeah, he crushed it. Good for him.
That entrepreneur life.
It's really good.
So there you go. I mean, look, all of our lady Cathys, shoot your shot. Like Anand said, don't be shy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize how many female listeners we have. We've seen you out at the events and stuff. Shoot your shot. Well, I'm trying to get an invite to that wedding.
Yeah, that wedding's going to be hot.
I mean, the thought of a group chat wedding, we've had people that, I guess Anand and Amanda, but I was going to say we've had people that got married, from in the office, but I don't know if we've ever had a group chat
Love connection.
We've had a proposal,
that we know of.
but not like a love connection.
No, I want someone who met via group chat.
Yeah. I like it.
Speaking of Anand and Amanda, and also speaking of getting rich, Anand, didn't take you long to, we should be asking you the same things we were asking Brandon.
Yeah. Where's your white t-shirt?
The wire hit, and all of a sudden, I have a feeling you went maybe south of the border. Where'd you go? You just took a mysterious rich guy trip.
No, so the wire hasn't hit.
Well,
it's called a lockup, so there's no wire.
Well, we know it's coming. So
this is all credit cards.
It's credit cards. I'm just over leveraged like every American.
You're using points here.
And then, all of a sudden you're, you say, hey, gotta take off for a minute. Where'd you go? Can you tell us?
Yeah, we went to Yucatan, Mexico.
Where's that?
Where's that?
It's a great question.
You still don't know.
Yeah, probably not. But no, it's a 3 to 4 hour drive from Cancun. So
Whoa!
It's that like.
So where do you fly into?
We flew LA, Mexico City. Mexico City, Merida is the small town where this resort was.
And how far? Was the resort close to the airport?
Yeah, it was like 30 minutes from the airport.
Okay.
So it was basically. It was for Amanda's birthday. We wanted to do something. We haven't traveled in God knows when, 15, 16 months. And
you went to the Super Bowl.
You're right. 13 months.
I saw you guys there. I sat next to you.
13 months. So we hadn't traveled. We hadn't done a vacation. So actually our close friends got engaged at this place 2 weeks prior.
Wow.
And we saw it on Instagram. And they're like very well-traveled people that have great taste. And they were like, you guys have to go. So we just booked the trip and
why'd you fly commercial?
Because the wire hasn't hit.
You flew commercial?
Yeah, he had to stop. This guy's going. Can I get one stop, please? I mean, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
lock up. There's lock up budget cuts.
Yeah.
You should have lied about that. That's not
Wait
a good look
6
for
months.
you.
No, so a few interesting takeaways from COVID travel. Firstly, Bradley International Terminal, which anyone who's flown out of LAX is typically the most crowded, most insane place. You see, it's just slammed. And you have flights to Asia, you have flights to Europe, you have flights everywhere. All those pretty much dead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super eerie. There's flights to Asia, no one boarding. Because unless you're going for family, who wants to go to an Asian country and sit in a government-sanctioned hotel for 14 days?
Yeah.
So it's weird to see like a Singapore Airlines flight, which typically will have 400 or 500 people lined up, and there's actually no one boarding the plane. That was really eerie.
How many people were on your
trippy.
flight?
My flight was slammed. So all the Latin American countries are generally open, definitely in Mexico.
Okay.
So at Bradley, all the flights that had busy terminals were all going to Latin countries. So it was very busy. And then I'll tell you one thing about wearing a mask it was a red eye too. Wearing a mask, red eye, transitioning through a terminal, and then getting on the flight. It's a lot. Like I didn't think a mask would affect me that much.
Yeah.
Just keeping it on for that extended period of time is very uncomfortable.
So how does it work when they give you water?
You're allowed to take your mask off.
Only for sipping.
Honestly, they're not really policing it like that, but you're just being respectful. So if you're not,
What's the crowd on the plane?
in terms of what?
Age group?
All ages. It's
Partying?
traditional.
Partiers or?
No, it's families. It's older people. It's younger people. It looked like a traditional flight.
Fine people on both sides.
Fine
Didn't
people.
look like spring break.
Did not look like spring break. There was a lot of families that were traveling. And
How was everyone with following the rules? Everyone had their masks on?
Yeah.
No,
No, yeah, the masks were definitely followed, and then immigration in Mexico City, because you have to go through customs there before you get regional flight, slammed.
Americans.
No, I don't even think it was Americans. It was just people that were going to Mexico City, and everyone's wearing masks. And then once you get to resort, it's pretty. They still have like low occupancy, so
They don't care.
Yeah, it's fine once you get there. But then the other thing is you have to get a negative COVID test to enter back in the U.S., which I was very happy about. So
where'd you do that? At the airport?
No, at the hotel. We paid for a COVID lab to come and test us. So
you did a rapid? Or?
No, it was full PCR.
Wow.
And
then you had to bring like paperwork back with you? Or
yeah,
something?
you have to have proof of a PCR test to board the flight.
Within 24 hours or something? Oh, to board the flight.
You can't even board the flight. The lab gives you the results. So, and let me tell you, I've probably taken 25, 30 COVID tests, I think, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
The test they gave was like what you originally heard, nasal swabs. It was insane.
Oh, no.
It was like all...
Like in your brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually got... And then they do a mouth swab where like instantly you gag because they go to, I think, your tonsils or whatever they do. It was the most intense COVID test I've ever had.
Wow.
So at least they got good culture to actually see if I had COVID or not.
Yeah, at least you got to the...
It's real.
It's
a real test.
It was a real test.
Yeah.
I've had some like kind of suspect nasal swabs out here for COVID tests.
Yeah.
Where they're just
So
like,
here's my question. Oh, totally. Yeah, there's a lot of those. Here's my question, friend to friend, but I think, some of our listeners would be interested to know. I mean, Cabo is a great place in Mexico. Extremely easy. Was the extra travel worth it? How was the resort? Was it incredible?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, it also depends what you want. We wanted to do something that wasn't going to be crowded. I felt Cabo would probably be more crowded.
Got it.
It's just more scenery, and you didn't have to leave the resort. You just on bikes the whole place. The hotel's basically on a farm, but they've built it out. And the service, I'll tell you, the service at this hotel is the best service I've ever had at a hotel in my life.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Well, congrats to you, man. Well deserved.
Yeah.
And glad you got to blow off some steam.
Yeah, it was great.
Blow off some money.
Blow off some money and steam.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys want to talk about what's going on in the world?
Yeah.
Did you guys see this thing about Chinatown Market? So Chinatown Market, for anyone who doesn't know, is a streetwear brand. They've been extremely hot for the past, whatever handful of years. LeBron constantly wears their stuff. Everyone wears their stuff. Big social media following, really good on social media.
They birthed out of Chinatown in Los Angeles.
Got it. Okay, didn't know that.
Yep.
And Chinatown is like an ode to, a lot of their design language and stuff is about like bootlegs and stuff like that, kind of an ode to Chinatown. But they just came under fire. I mean, the cancel squad came for them, and they were under some pretty big heat. What have you guys heard about it? What's the reaction? Do you know what's going on?
Yeah, so they posted on their Instagram today. And by the way, it was Chinatown in New York City, not LA, like Canal Street in New York City. And
Got it.
They felt that they wanted to change their name. And
wow. Complete name change. And they're working with their partners and retailers to donate the proceeds from existing products and work to fund nonprofits working with the AAPI community, which is, all the Asian kind of organizations. And they felt that they made a mistake in the name and they want to be a part of the change. And so, obviously this is a very big news. This is a pretty big brand, especially in streetwear. It's a very big brand. It's not an easy thing to come to this decision. It's founded, from what I know, by two white guys. Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not gonna take the high road here. I don't know why they have to change their name, because I don't think it was meant in any disrespect. I think it was an ode to an area of town that they kind of grew up in and were a part of. And from what I know, they're a very respectful brand and they do right. You know, like I don't think they've disrespected the community to my knowledge. But
I think the argument was that it's because, and I'm not saying this is my argument, but the argument was like, you're reducing the beauty and the culture of Chinatown and Chinese culture to like a bunch of bootlegs.
Got it. Okay.
That was the complaint. I think my biggest thing, and I'm gonna not really jump in this one too hard, but is like it's the fact that like everyone wore it, like LeBron wore it constantly. Everyone wore it constantly, and it's just crazy that like sort of a switch can flip.
Yeah.
And you're celebrated for your name and you're celebrated for your approach, and then it can flip on you. And I'm not.
So if they were Asian or if they were Chinese, would it be okay?
So wait, can you walk back what the controversy is?
I think by these rules, yeah.
What's the controversy?
The controversy is that it's two white guys. They have a brand called Chinatown Market, and they're essentially like reducing the beauty and the culture of Chinatown to nothing but a bunch of bootlegs and almost making a mockery.
And when you
or
say
sort
bootlegs,
of,
what do you mean?
That's what they do. They like take popular logos. This is how they started. They would do like a Chanel bootleg, or they would do a Dolce & Gabbana bootleg. They would do just mocks of like the most popular logos in the world, and they would, you know, they launch graphics every day, and so it was an ode to what happens on Canal Street in New York, in New York City, which is all fake shit. So.
But people are mad because, especially with all the Asian hate going on, which I get that part, but they're mad that they're essentially like, it's two white guys, you know, profiting off of Asian culture in one way or another, and they're also reducing it to a bunch of bootlegs. So I get that.
Does P.F. Chang's have to change their name?
They're owned by a private equity firm, so you know that's white guys.
And it's Paul Fleming.
Yeah, and interesting story about P.F. Chang's. Glad you brought that up. When they got bought by a private equity company, if you've been to a P.F. Chang's 10 years ago, food was fantastic.
Amazing.
You go to P.F. Chang's now, food is terrible because the private equity company actively sought cheaper ingredients. This is fact, to maximize profit, to make shittier food and make more money. So they should be canceled, right?
Yeah.
According to these rules.
But yeah, that's my only concern is like kind of on that note is not saying my like, going into my thoughts on this because I'm not even totally sure, but is like, I do think that there's way bigger perpetrators out there than these two dudes, you know, with their streetwear company. I do think there's way bigger villains or way bigger people that are using culture for profit. And like, I just think there's way bigger people to, you know.
So like, you know, growing up in LA, there's been a lot of, there's always been a lot of racial tension amongst all the ethnic groups. And, you know, one of the big challenges, and I'm curious because, you know, this is a topic that eventually needs to be addressed, is in Los Angeles, a predominant amount of the liquor stores in Black communities are owned by Asian people. And that was a huge problem during the riots in 1990s, in the early 90s. And, you know, that tension seems to still be here today. I mean, we're seeing it with the hate crimes, you know, that are transpiring. So I think if we're going to go down this path, then we got to go all the way in it. And it has to go both ways, because I don't think singling out Chinatown Market, I don't know if they received a lot of pressure from talent and people to change their name, but, you know, we have to go down the list of all ethnic groups. Yeah. And, you know.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's never ending when you go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, because I can guarantee you there's things that are, misrepresenting the Latino community, the Black community, the Indian community, every community.
Yeah, should we rename all 7-Elevens because I got made fun of for being Indian? And because
I guess
Indian shopkeepers 7-Eleven?
They're not exploiting a name, right? Like,
but it's affiliated. I had hate.
Yeah, we did have hate. There's no shortage of hate in that.
So rename all the 7-Elevens while we're at it.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah,
the
that's problem
Simpsons
is-
guy. The Simpsons guy really killed us.
Yeah, he
Apu really made it a hard
But
childhood
here's
for
the
me.
other
Yeah,
part where
yeah.
I'm trying to reconcile is there's no negative connotation with Chinatown. I've been to Chinatowns all over the country.
Yeah.
Chinatown, San Francisco, Chinatown, New York, Chinatown, LA. It's a place where you go to get Chinese food.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like there's no negative connotation with being in a Chinatown.
It's that there's two white guys saying, "Oh, it's a bunch of bootlegs." That's what Chinatown is. That's the problem. In this argument, is you're reducing it to bootleg clothing, and I'm not. Like I said, I'm not. That's what the argument is because I looked at it pretty deeply. But I don't know. That's just my problem. Is I feel like if you go down that road, you do have to go all the way down that road, and it's a very blurry, hard road to travel, and I just don't know that if we're truly trying to do what's best for the world and for marginalized groups, that this is the fight to fight. You know what I mean? I do think there's bigger fights that everyone could sort of align on.
And I'll be honest, I think the way that you actually push integration in society amongst all cultural groups is by other races kind of accepting it and bringing it to popular culture. So like I was a big believer in the BLM movement is that you needed prominent white people to be engaged and involved for the message to be louder. And you saw that happening. And in order for Asian communities, and I'm putting myself in that community, to be more popularly accepted, we need white America, white culture to integrate us into clothing brands and make us more aware, whether it's through content, whether it's through brands, whether it's to whatever it is. It's like, you take the movie Slumdog Millionaire, which obviously was done by Danny Boyle, a white British director, and it did a lot for Indian culture. It got acceptance for Indian people in America. Like you got to hear the music for the first time at a nightclub. Yep. You got people looking at Indian people differently because of that movie. So I don't know.
That was like the birth of basically Indians breaking into Hollywood.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
And so I'm not mad at that a white person did that and created that moment for us. Like, I just think that, like, does that mean that, like, if anything Indian related, like, it has to be an Indian person that does it?
And
I don't agree with that.
You can make the argument Slumdog Millionaire portrayed India very poorly.
Mm-hmm. It did, because people in India
hated it.
Did not like it because it showed India only one side, a dark part of India. But as an Indian American, Slumdog Millionaire, that era was a great time for me.
Definitely in America.
Yeah, like I was like, could not believe how accepting of Indian culture for the first time. It was so like, I would go anywhere and everyone's like, yo, Slumdog Millionaire. Yeah. I didn't find that offensive. Yeah. I found it like, fuck, finally, you're listening to our music. You're accepting brown-skinned people in popular culture. It was such a breakthrough moment.
Yeah, I think another way to like think about that is it was the first time as an Indian American that Indian culture wasn't just something we did at home with our families.
Yeah.
It was something you could just talk about with everyone and it never was like looked at weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think like, I honestly don't believe that the founders of Chinatown Market were trying to make fun of Chinatown. Like, I think that they were talking about how cool it is. Like, they were trying to show that it's cool. And like, look at the flips that we can do on these logos and because Chinatown is such a like meaningful part of New York and, New York more so than LA. But like, I just don't think that they were like trying to like make a mockery. Like, I don't think they were trying to make Apu from The Simpsons. I think that they were actually trying to like sort of celebrate a piece of something that's really big in New York and everyone kind of knows and loves. But, I could be wrong, I guess, but that's how I took it from them. I don't think they had bad intention.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think I don't know.
Well, that's the issue with all of these movements. Unfortunately, there's casualties along the way to get progress and casualties that frankly probably shouldn't be casualties.
Yeah.
And it's
because now you're changing the name of your company. It's like, oh, you can't be young and reckless anymore. You have to be, you know.
Let's see if LeBron wears a new brand, because I think it's better for Chinatowns around America for LeBron to be wearing Chinatown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, we'll see what happens, but they went for the full name change, it looks like. So, big move. We'll see. Okay, next up, let's talk about Dapper Labs, the company behind NBA Top Shot that we talk so much about, has raised $305 million at a $2.6 billion valuation. NFTs are here.
Yeah, I love it.
They're here to stay.
I think what NBA Top Shot represents as far as like the NFT space is by far the most interesting thing. Way more interesting to me than BitClout. I think BitClout to me did the fatal mistake that Top Shot didn't do. NBA Top Shot, Dapper Labs partnered with the NBA, got the acceptance of a very powerful IP, and then built it. Most technology companies always miss this crucial point. BitClout just went and did it and didn't get the buy-in from the talent first, because I think that matters. I think what BitClout's doing is phenomenal. I just wish they just went and said, okay, the top 100 people in America, let me just get their buy-in and make sure. And what NBA Top Shot is doing, they're going to replicate it in so many facets of life. This is just the beginning. And like, I don't know, this is like a revolutionary company in my opinion.
And for people that haven't followed Dapper Labs, they were the company that brought CryptoKitties. So that was their original product. And that was like 3-4 years ago. I think CryptoKitties really came on the space and people were trading them, and then that fell off and they spent a few years trying to figure out what to do, got the NBA license, and then relaunched as NBA Top Shot. So it was genius. And I think I also want to point out, I don't know if you guys talked about how on Saturday Night Live, they talked about NFTs.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it, but I saw it.
But
no, I didn't know that.
So
What
like
the hell is an
Eminem
NFT?
did like a skit on NFTs. And I remember 4 years ago, when Fred, co-founder of Coinbase, was starting his new crypto fund. And like he would tell us like one of the most critical things in the next iteration of crypto is to get mainstream media buy-in. So he was very keen on like pitching crypto to Kanye, to Drake, to like Nas, and like get Nas already fully bought in because obviously we'd been in for a while. But that was like a real, like that was part of his mission. He's like, I want mainstream pop culture to think of crypto as just, you know, another thing. And it, you know, we've heard it in rap songs and whatnot, but like, I think that Saturday Night Live skit was a seminal moment in the crypto evolution. The fact that they are making a skit with Eminem, like doing a joke about NFTs, that's like insane. And the pace of which this has all evolved is just unreal. Like 4 or 5 years ago, if you had told someone that, like, oh, there's going to be this thing called NFTs.
4 or 5 years ago, 6 months ago.
Yeah, the fact that like you can literally bring up NFTs to anyone of any age, they've heard of it. Whether they understand what it is or not, everyone's heard of NFTs. And it's just so crazy, the pace of evolution in this industry. We've never seen this in technology before, like how quickly things are evolving. Like even my parents' private wealth manager, they used to laugh at me for Bitcoin over the last 5-6 years. They would just like, haha, like, yeah, talk about your Bitcoin. And our last call with my mom last week was Friday or Thursday. And
they went all in on Top Shot.
No, 30 minutes. They started asking me about crypto. And my mom's like, you guys keep talking. We'd already like talked about my mom's stuff. And he stayed on the phone asking me about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And
where the fuck you been, homie? Is this your job?
And then I asked him, I was like, what percentage of your clients are asking about Bitcoin? And he goes, 100%.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's huge. And that's just like
that's a normal
private wealth manager.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, it's not like a Silicon Valley technology like wealth manager, right? This is like people who just made money that probably most likely aren't from technology are all chomping at the bit trying to figure this out.
It's like just wealthy doctors.
Yeah.
Or whatever, Interesting.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Well, yeah, I think we're witnessing the crossover.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe you were right again, Anand. Drake, Coupon, and now this. Okay, what about Substack? Substack is raising $65 million of new capital at a valuation of somewhere around $650 million.
Cheap.
What's Substack? A bunch of newsletters? What is that?
Okay, I think I'm going to be on the record here. Terrible fucking investment.
Oh.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I think it's a terrible
Wow.
investment. I think the reason why Andreessen Horowitz is investing in this is they clearly have a thesis around media. They are invested in Clubhouse. They're investing in Substack. They feel like there's this whole new kind of world happening with. And did they invest in Cameo too? I don't know if they invested in Cameo, but
They might be in Cameo.
so they clearly have this view on like direct to creator content. And Substack is where, like, if you're a great writer, it's pretty much only fans for writers. And so you can go like, so what's made it popular recently is all the defected New York Times writers who kind of had political issues with New York Times went and built this incredible Substack career where, like, you know, if you get 10,000 people to give you, you know, $10 a month, you're making $1 million a year as a writer. And you can't make $1 million a year as a writer anymore. I don't know how much a New York Times writer makes, but it ain't $1 million.
No, it's not $1 million.
And so I think I love the business. I think it's an incredible opportunity. I think it's not a good investment because I don't see, like, there's not going to be millions of writers that can charge $10 a month because, you know, it's like the streaming issue, right? Like we're not going to pay for 45 streaming services either. But I do like the idea. What Andreessen Horowitz is doing is they clearly have a belief around content and they want to disrupt the model. I just think this is not a good investment.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just curious if there's something we don't see. Is the amount of newsletter lovers bigger than we would imagine? Is there something in this? We know this can kind of go two different ways. One is bad investment. We'll learn about it long term. Didn't work out. The other is like there's something happening in newsletters which I wouldn't have thought
Nobody
of.
reads.
Nobody reads.
I know.
Yeah, I think it's more they just want to disrupt the medium, so they're making all these bets. And Andreessen Horowitz is known for this. They overpay.
Yeah.
They put up big capital to just take rounds from everyone else. So I have no idea how this process went, but like you could assume they were probably raising it $400 million, and Andreessen just goes, here's at 65 at 650.
Yeah.
And they've done this, and they were mocked 5-6 years ago because returns leaked that, you know, they weren't so great. But you wait 5 years later, they're all home runs.
Yeah.
Like they're
not all home runs.
Not all, but when you look at the portfolio,
Yeah.
so they have this media thesis,
yeah.
right? So between Clubhouse, Substack, and whatever else they're doing, they'll write $65, $100 million checks into each of them. Because think about it, they now have, I think their last fund, late stage fund is over $3 billion. Their early stage fund is $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's a lot of capital to deploy.
You got to start writing bad checks.
Yeah. And all you need, but that's the VC model though. You don't need them all to work.
No.
So if Substack takes the wind out of some other media company,
It's
they
worth
just paid $65 million to crush someone else.
Yeah, that's what I think is really the play. I don't think the problem is if it was video and it was half naked people like OnlyFans, I'd have a lot of faith in it. But it's reading.
It's the fact that it's reading that gets you.
Yeah, reading's. I would not invest in our society reading more than they did last week.
Here's how my guess is they probably did this exercise. I'm going to pull this up. If you look at New York Times' stock in the last 12 to 24 months,
it's on fire.
Absolutely on fire. So they're probably like, hey, if we get $65 million, why don't we just start buying?
Yeah.
Just create the next New York Times meets GQ meets, and you actually take the whole editorial industry, you have a shot. I'm not going to tell you on the record this is going to work or not going to work. I just don't know.
Yeah.
And it's fine to not think it's going to work because there's clearly so many things that need to go right, just like every startup. But I get the like broader thesis that
I agree
these
with the
mediums
thesis.
aren't going to agree.
Exist. I agree with the thesis. I just don't like the investment.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see if reading prevails.
Yep.
If not,
Drama-
move over to tits.
We know that works.
We know that works every time. Okay, and then what about Cameo? The good old app Cameo, which is where you can pay for like shout outs and customized videos from celebrities, which I didn't know was like making moves. I thought it was just kind of chilling as like, here's something that exists kind of at this level. But they just raised a new round of funding and they're now valued at $1 billion.
$1 billion. And I'm sorry, Andreessen Horowitz is not an investor. Mayoshi son is. Woo!
There he is.
I'm a big
And Tony
Mayoshi
Hawk.
guy.
And Tony Hawk.
Mayoshi and Tony Hawk.
Yeah. So, this is another example of like disrupting media, disrupting content. You know what this business feels like to me? This is disrupting the greeting card business, which I know is massive. And like, I think about how big greeting cards has been a big part of life, like thank you cards and just everything. And Cameo is just modernizing it, making it more fun. And I think what they're doing is amazing. You know, when this came out, I didn't appreciate what it could do, but it's such like it's just a fun way to communicate with your friends and family. And I think it has a lot of legs. And I think younger generation is going to rely on this. Like when you want to wish your friend a happy birthday, would you send them what would you send them? Send them a Cameo, right? Like that would be fun. You know, like you're going to send them an NFT and a Cameo. Like that's the future. You're not going to go buy them a gift. You're not going to go buy them like a sweater.
Yeah, one of our employees did like a full skit on Instagram, and he got a Cameo from Rachel Dolezal saying she knows what it feels like not to be understood. And posted like, "Hey Neil, I know how you feel," and like posted it on his Instagram.
Yeah, so I understand it, and it's cool. Good for them.
Yeah, I just didn't think, man. I don't know why. I just thought it was just kind of chill at its level, but they're making moves.
Yeah, it's also when they launched, it needed to reach a tipping point where big celebrities were okay with being on it. And once a handful of big celebrities because you never wanted to be the celebrity like, oh, his career's not going well. He needs $50 for this message. But
that's how it felt. I signed up early and it felt like that. I had to quit.
And here's the thing. I actually think now if you're a celebrity, you do it more to stay relevant.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can
get to connect with your fans.
Yeah.
And you can go through like the feed and you can see, if you mark it public, you can see the shout outs that person has done for other people. So you kind of have like a little following there.
Yeah.
And if you think about
bad move.
Group chats are bigger than ever, whether you're in fantasy football with your friends.
Yes.
And yes, we are. But almost everyone has at least 1 to 2 5+ person group chats. Almost everyone, I would imagine.
Yep.
And this is the biggest beneficiary of that because I'm in so many group chats where someone will just pay $20 to fuck with someone and get some random celeb to be like, say something. So it's like it's taking advantage of an amazing like kind of social dynamic that's happening digitally.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, good for them and good for Tony Hawk. He's out here investing. That's cool. All right, our formerly. It hurts me to say this. I feel like a lot of our steam has, not all of it, but a lot of our steam has left. Clubhouse. We're fans, but we were huge fans of what they were doing. They kind of reinvented or invented this whole new way of using communication and content and stuff. But one of the things that we talked about was, that they're going to have a lot of competitors. I think Twitter already announced a competitor. A lot of people are talking about it. And one of the things I think we said early on was Spotify should just buy Clubhouse. Well, it turns out they're not going to buy Clubhouse. They're going to launch their own competitor themselves.
So they acquired
Betty
Labs.
Good old Betty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is the company behind the live sports audio app Locker Room. And I like it. I like the audio play when it's a little more niche and a little more focused. And I like it for sports because sports talk radio is so big and it's such like a big regional thing. I remember when Clubhouse came out, I was like telling Anand, I was like, it should be totally localized. Like if you live in, Los Angeles, I want to know everything. I want to know about high school sports. I want to know about college sports, and I want to know about the professional sports. And all I care is about LA teams anyways. Like, I don't care what, like, anything that's happening in another city or state is doing. So I think sports is actually a even easier way to popularize this audio momentum. And there's a reason why Spotify is Spotify, right? Like, they saw what was happening, and I think they made the right move. And I think what we're finding with Clubhouse, the bigger challenge is it's too all over the place, and they did the same mistake that I keep seeing technology companies do. Just fucking pay the talent.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you just offer Naval $10 million and just say, Naval, here's $10 million. Go on there for an hour every day.
You basically go to the top 10 podcasters and offer them millions of dollars.
Millions. Give Joe Rogan, give everyone who can speak well lots of money. So then here's the problem is Clubhouse, now I go on it, it's even more of those scammy talks than it was before.
It's crazy. I went on the show more, so it's people I don't follow. It's a scary place down there.
Yeah. There's people just getting hustled.
It is, man. The scammers have really adopted it.
Yeah.
Also, I love scrolling to the bottom and seeing like what, 5 and under rooms you can get yourself into. I've gotten screamed at before.
Yeah.
They're like, fucking get up on the stage and talk. I was like, I don't want to do it. He kept inviting me. He said either get up here or get the fuck out of this room. So I left.
Wow.
I felt so threatened. Left nothing.
That's insane.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I do think the concept itself showed so much promise. We'll see what Spotify does.
It'll be interesting is Clubhouse, just the Friendster, and someone else becomes Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you could have had us for 10 mil, but now price went up.
But I do think the medium makes sense.
The medium is going to work. I just think
who figures it out.
Spotify is willing to pay talent. That is the biggest difference.
They already own some of the talent. So they have Simmons, they have Rogan.
Yeah.
Some
they
of
have
the
Barack.
They're Barack Obama, Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
That's a Clubhouse I want to be in.
Joe Rogan, Bill Simmons. Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what happens. All right. It's time to do As Seen on Social. What did everyone see in the last week on social media that they need to, everyone needs to know about? Dee?
Two things. I won't take too much time on it. One is the NFL is expanding to 17 games from 16 games. They know, I mean, those... Obviously, that was in the works pre-signing these ridiculous TV deals that they signed 2 weeks ago. Obviously, players are not happy because it's another game. They're going to reduce, I think, one of the preseason games.
Yeah, the Stars don't even play the preseason games.
Yeah, so, NFL, when you think about
you're basically 17 games basically reduces, and I'm not saying this is a joke, it actually reduces the lifespan of NFL players. Yeah. Not their career, the actual lifespan.
Yeah, because it's just another day of just getting.
Yeah. Do they get a pay bump?
No, of course not.
But the TV deal effectively
raise the cap,
and they will see a benefit of it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I understand why the NFL did it. I don't know. It's a tough one. The other is Nike. We talked about in the last episode, the hottest shoe in the world, the Satan shoes.
Yeah, that was going to be mine too. So we'll just cover that for both of us.
Yeah. So Lil Nas X and Mischief partnered up to do a shoe called the Satan shoe. Sold out in under a minute. Nike is now suing Lil Nas X for the shoe because Nike's getting a lot of bad feedback. It's amazing how many people dislike the devil, but don't dislike guns and drugs.
Yeah, the manifestation of the devil.
Yes, exactly. Like, the actual devil of society is guns and drugs.
But don't you dare show that man with horns on his head.
The people, I see rappers talking about Lil Nas X and the devil, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You talk about guns and sexual assault and drugs, and you care about the devil?
How do you not realize you're just falling into the biggest troll? That's exactly the point of the whole thing.
Yes.
How could you? It's so crazy. But yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at Nike though, because I do think, even though it was genius, and I think he should have done exactly what he did. It did look like he collabed with Nike. It did look like Nike gave approval. And if that's not what you want for your brand, then you don't want human blood being advertised as in your Air Max Air pockets. I get it.
So fine, then Nike has to go after everybody then. Because there's so many people that are doing that right now that are not.
Yeah, this is commonplace, right?
Yeah. Everyone does it.
Yeah. So is this just the headliner for them and then they're done? Or do you think they
That's
actually
true,
follow
too.
through with like any lawsuit?
I mean,
Any real lawsuit?
the thing.
I bet they.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say. I bet you this is just to save face. Are they really going to get money out of Lil Nas X?
I think it's culturally like not a good move to sue.
Because
It
that's
looks
the
weak.
thing. It's almost like the way the NBA lets all these highlights accounts exist,
Yeah.
even though they haven't licensed the content. They're like, hey, it's more exposure.
Yeah.
That's what Nike was doing, turning their blind eye to all these collabs, right?
Yeah, I agree.
guess you're right. I mean, there are all the like shoe surgeon, and there's all these people that flip Nikes and resell them. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. But I would think that I would hope that this is just because there was so much backlash. It was so severe. I mean, for God's sakes, it's like they're all numbered with 666 and human blood. Like, even if you would have toned it down like a little bit, I think they probably wouldn't have felt the
But
need.
don't you
like,
think there's a tinge of people being homophobic as well? It's not
Oh, for
just the devil,
sure.
right?
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. He just leaned into like, all right, if you're already telling me that I'm going to hell because I'm gay,
Yeah.
then here you go. I went to hell.
His
In my
videos,
last video.
his videos trolling this thing are the funniest things. I've
Yeah,
ever
he
seen.
was
He's
crying
so
on live.
good.
He made
crying.
it seem. And then he's like, just fucking kidding, go stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, his
up.
social media. And then he said, like, how about this? Is this better? And he made like a Chick-fil-A shoe with
a
like a Bible quote on it. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He wins. I mean, long term, no matter what happens here, he wins.
Yeah, he to me went for people to like icon status because he's pissed off so many people. That's cool.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Anand, what's yours?
I'm going to switch it up a little, make a little PSA. The vaccine works. I have put this vaccine to the test in the
Wow.
last
Let's
6
clap that one up,
weeks.
baby. That's what I'm
And,
talking about.
and between our dad's services, undisclosed parties, indoor,
Yeah.
traveling,
Whoa.
on flights, just it works. Science works. We have to trust the science. I've taken COVID as serious as anyone pre-vaccine. Kept it very kosher. Wasn't partying. Wasn't doing indoor hangs. Did the outdoor thing. Listened to the rules. Masked up, and didn't get COVID. I got the vaccine and have lived a relatively pre-COVID normal life. Not to the extent because it's not even possible, but
Yeah.
I've done my thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting sick. I've been tested. The vaccine works.
Yeah.
So go get it.
Yeah, you got to get it.
PSA from Anand.
PSA.
It works.
I mean, Pete got it, right? Demi Lovato came out as pansexual.
I saw that on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It was a great, I
Yeah.
listened to the whole thing. It was a great interview.
So what's
That
she
was a big
saying?
win for the community.
What?
What is she saying
What do you mean? I mean, the
about
whole.
just coming out as pansexual?
Oh yeah, she was just like, I just don't think I like see myself getting actually married to a dude. Like I don't like dudes enough.
Okay.
So she was just kind of talking about her open sexuality, how
She would get married to a woman or not?
Yeah, so she's saying she would, but like right now she's not even looking. She's like, I think I'm just gonna be. She talked about adopting a kid instead of worrying about having to have kids herself. Because she's again not even really the whole idea of marrying a man to her wasn't a thing.
So she's more
No.
like not into marriage.
Well, no, she
marry
said.
I think she might marry a woman.
Yeah, she said she'd be down
Or a
to-
non-binary. Like, I don't know. She
So
just, she
it-
did. I didn't really listen to
the
it, but I did see
traditional
the clip
norm.
that, like,
She's saying that she was brought up in. She no longer is really.
But if she married a woman
Yeah,
and she's monogamous to her wife,
Yeah.
wouldn't that make her a lesbian?
I don't know.
No.
Ask Tim.
No,
she's
so
still-
So is the
okay.
only difference between bisexual and pansexual is trans is part of the menu?
trans and non-binary, but it's kind of, there's a lot of people who use bisexual in a pansexual sense. You know, like they mean pansexual but
Interchangeably.
yeah, interchangeably.
Got it.
So if Demi Lovato marries a woman
Mhm.
and says, I'm monogamous to this woman for the rest of my life,
Sure, yeah.
how can you still be a pansexual?
Well, it's like when you're straight and you marry a woman.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're not attracted to women anymore.
So that's
know?
all it is.
You're still attracted to other people. You're just committing to someone.
So you're a pansexual married woman.
Yeah, you're still attracted
So-
to all genders and sexes.
So basically
you're
you're
just committing
saying-
to one person.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're pansexual if you're married to a woman or guy, whether you're gay or straight, but you watch a movie of some heartthrob that's of the other sex, that qualifies you as a pansexual.
It's just your attraction to people of other genders.
But it's not the action of doing anything, as long as you're just attracted.
Right.
Well, you're an adulterer at that point if you commit.
Yeah.
That's a
true.
whole nother statement.
That's another brand.
Yeah, that's another category. And that includes everybody.
Yeah.
You just because you're pansexual, you don't get away with shit.
No.
Nope.
You're going to need to put on some shoes made of human blood.
Yeah. Because if that was
my
the loophole,
God.
everyone's going to be a pansexual.
Oh yeah, he would have sold out much quicker.
Yeah.
But so it's
my
interesting to me because you see this amongst girls specifically. Guys just don't do this as much. That hetero girls and hetero guys, that they'll watch a movie and they'll see some hot actress and girls will be like, oh my God, she's so hot. Guys who are hetero just don't say that. So would those people be considered pansexual?
It depends on if they like what they mean by that. If they're just acknowledging that someone's beautiful versus like if they're like, wow, I want to sleep with that person.
Got it.
You know?
Okay. Just checking in.
Yeah. No, it's,
Yeah, this is good. This is we got to do it, man.
Pre-sequel
At least
to the,
weekly.
I think
to
the next one we should talk about polyamory. We should talk about being
Whoa.
polyamorous.
What does that mean?
Well, we'll find out next.
Okay.
That's the tease.
Comeback Friday.
That means you get to get married to whoever you want and you can still have sex with
That's
anyone
like what
you
the
want.
Mormons do.
No way.
Yeah.
Sign us all up.
Okay, is that it?
Shout outs?
We have shout outs. So this one I actually read last time. So we'll skip all the big chunk of it, but get right to the heart of it. Satoshi's biggest fan sent us a shout out from the Amish community, and he wanted to know what you guys' thoughts were on an anti-stimulus, meaning that you take people's money out of the rich people's pockets
What does that
What
mean?
does that mean?
instead of giving it to
Taxes?
the poor. People that are too rich, you take the money out.
And what do you do with it?
I don't fucking know.
You give it to, you use that as for the stimulus.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm a socialist, so I'm usually okay with this. But here's the problem: is the government is going to piss the money away anyways.
That's true.
So I'd rather have the government pay for this,
Yeah.
and be a little bit more efficient with their spending than taking it out of people's pockets. Next fucking question.
Okay. That was it. That was all. He was just
Okay.
We gave him a shout out already. Now we're going over to Ryan in Park City. He said, "What up, group chat? Apologies for the length, but I wanted to squeeze a couple things into rather than writing a bunch of shout outs and making it seem like I'm trying to replace Satoshi. Don't do that. He was a very angry man."
Yes.
As I tried to uncover his identity this last weekend. And now he came at the throat a little bit. So
Wow.
he's back. This is going to be a classic boring birthday shout out. We said, so I'll keep it short and sweet in regards to the episode about Dee and Anand's father, but I couldn't let it pass without acknowledging how incredible it was to hear about his inspiring legacy. I don't know you guys at all besides a few DMs, but after listening to how personal you got in that episode, I feel like I know you on a deeper level rather than just my favorite podcaster. So thank you for being authentic.
Awesome.
Now we're going to the second half. A big happy birthday to a day one short story long and group chat listener, Nate Misselli.
Okay.
Happy birthday to him. Nate is his best buddy and also the reason he started listening to you guys back at the start when he was only 17 years old, just grinding away at manual labor summer jobs to make some extra money before skiing really started to take off for us. I can't express how much of an impact short story long group chat have had on our mindsets, business ventures, skiing careers, and lives in general. So thank you guys for being you, and thank you, Nate, for getting us hooked. Huge happy birthday to Nate. Heal up quickly since you broke your foot
Wow.
launching a backcountry ski jump.
Wow.
We'd love to show any of the group chat gang the locals way around Park City if you guys are ever down.
I'm going to take him up on it.
I'm trying to go there in the summer, actually.
Didn't you go in the summer once?
I went a few years ago in the summer. I really enjoyed it. I think. What are they doing in skiing? Is that like a drug reference or is that actual skiers?
I think they're actually skiing.
No,
Okay.
I believe this Ryan is a professional skier.
Yeah. If
He's
I'm
been
finding
a
this
group
correct,
chat
it
listener.
just says Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Happy birthday, Nate.
So happy birthday, Nate. Thanks, Ryan, for sending it in. He also said, P.S. I know Dee and Drama are really balling when they vacation in Park City, and Anand could basically buy the whole town at this point. But Tim and Pete balling on a budget. Until those crypto stocks pop up, you guys are always welcome to hang in Park City, stay at my place, and enjoy some mountain time.
Wow.
Wow. Very
Hey,
Park
Taking
City's
it up.
not cheap.
No.
Taking it
I'd
up
love to
on-
go with Anand.
Yeah.
A great time to go with.
I want
I'm
him
sure I could
to
have-
make me a better skier, so I'm going
There
to
you
take
go.
him up on it.
There you go. That's all I got. Now we can go over to
Satoshi.
Satoshi.
So there was a Satoshi Instagram story at the NBA trade deadline, which made me realize it's not Tim.
Oh,
This is definitely not Tim.
It's not Tim.
Because he started talking about Kyle Lowry. I know Tim doesn't give a shit about Kyle Lowry.
Or know who that
but
is.
you were convinced up until that.
It could be a combo of Tim and Kai, though.
No.
No, it's not.
The guy was over in Beverly Hills. He lives over in Beverly Hills. So the Nothing But Details.
Yeah, I know. I
Got
saw
it.
him post it. Yeah.
So I hit up Mike. He threw it in the shout out.
You did ask him.
And I was like, I'm going to call up Mike, the guy who owns it. And I was like, who is he? He goes, he wouldn't reveal his identity to me. He said he wanted to, but Mike told him not to because if he had found out that he had revealed it, he knew I would find out.
But he physically saw the person.
Not Mike, but his business partner, Alex, did.
Okay.
So Alex went and did it.
How about sneaking in a pic, bro?
I know. I was like, what? I need like more information. He says, I don't have anything.
Okay, let's go.
Interesting. Well, we got a shout out from Banksy. Banksy said, I hope you're all doing well. Hopefully Anand is back from his trip to Turks and Caicos or whatever vacation spot he decided to go to. Sorry I couldn't join. I was too busy working on this nothing but detailing brand deal. Hopefully future brand deals will be paid, but I'm grateful for the job that Michael and the crew did. Regardless, I'm still doing more business right now than the vlog squad. Today's Satoshi from group chat question comes from a younger Kathy who asks, what is a topic/skill set that you would focus on building if you were a young person or in college? I like the question because Satoshi cares about the future of America.
This guy went and he asked questions on his Instagram for people to ask, and he could include it in the shout out. He goes, I'll include one in tomorrow's shout out.
Oh,
Might need to join Dee Ping on the presidential run. Much love, Satoshi.
You know what my one advice that, won't be what you hear from everyone else is work on your communication skills in person, not just on social media, because I think a lot of people, I interact with quite a few young people in person, and this is where college makes such a big difference. I see the difference between a person that went to college that is just more personable and easier to talk to. And you can get that skill without going to college. You actually have to be very purposeful in getting it. So let's spend your time on that. Go up and talk to strangers. It's such a incredible. I used to do that when I was like 18, 19 years old. I used to go to all these like entrepreneur events with adults, and I would just walk up to people and talk to them. And that gave me an enormous amount of confidence.
It's good advice. I would say the obvious skill that everyone talks about is coding, like learn to code. And obviously you're guaranteed employment, which is great. But if you think about next 15, 20 years, I think there's a strong consensus that whoever figures out climate change or solutions to climate change is going to create the next multi-trillion-dollar industries. So I don't know what those jobs entail, but do some research, figure out how you can get involved in climate change, because I think that's an obvious next wave of growth.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like it. What else?
That's it, Satoshi.
What we got?
Satoshi has attitude. He was arguing with me about naan. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Satoshi.
On DM?
Yeah.
What'd he say?
Let me pull it up.
I saw your tweet.
He gets frustrated.
I saw your
he's got a
tweet.
short
Very
temper,
frustrated.
that
Yes, a
fucker.
very short temper. There are things I'm like, whoa. Okay.
He goes, garlic is incredible, but this just means you've never had some fire regular naan. Motherfucker, I went to India growing up my entire life. Like, what are you talking about? Are you going to the
So
same
he's
places?
definitely Indian?
Yeah, and then I said,
Because if you have that strong of an opinion on naan, like a white guy shouldn't be telling an Indian guy what naan.
Oh, absolutely not.
So you don't think it's me? You
Definitely
really
not
don't think
Tim.
it's me anymore?
yeah, I
Also
don't
can't
know.
be Kai.
Yeah, we better fall back, Satoshi.
Get your non and check first.
Yeah.
Before you try to check us.
Satoshi posted today a date for when Short Story Long was coming back. So July 4th.
This guy's going to will it into existence.
Yeah, he's got a life of his own, and he needs to fall
Does
back
he-
on.
what's his job?
What? We haven't discovered that much.
The shout outs, I think.
Yeah, he's just a full-time shout-out guy.
They're
He
always
does
on
this for
time.
all podcasts. He's working on 40 podcast shout-outs. I mean, he got a free plug-in for the detailing company.
That's true.
So if you go to the detail guy and say, hey, wash my car, give me $25, I'll give you a plug.
I'll give you a shout out on the pod if you come wash my car. And they're like, oh, deal. Even though they can sit there all day and just write shout outs themselves.
Oh my God. Okay. Great.
Okay.
Like he thinks he's praying for exits now, just taking a
Question and answer.
Oh, that's good.
Oh my God.
Like, he's going to be mad next shout out.
He's gonna give us some shit.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Yeah, it
Get
should
a little
be
feud
good.
going.
We fired him up a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Come on,
Fire under your
Satoshi.
ass. What do you got? Also, name the better naan place. I'd love to know.
What do you mean? No, he's saying regular flavored naan versus garlic naan.
Sure. Where is it?
Any Indian
You're
would
talking
Name it.
Satoshi?
Yeah.
You can
If he
ask him.
knows,
Yeah.
let's hear where.
Yeah. It's just a bold statement
Yes.
coming from potentially someone that's not Indian.
Yeah, he should really hide his identity. 'Cause
That's
if he
like,
comes out
you
as
know,
a white dude,
I feel like Chinatown Market now.
Yeah.
fitting.
Yeah.
How that all fit in.
Yeah.
How's the March Madness bracket going?
Oh yeah, we have to somehow D's gonna possibly win. So
Might-
don't
might
worry.
win.
If D wins, he doesn't get the
Who's
money.
your- who's your pick
We'll
as
hand it
winner?
back down.
Gonzaga.
Oh, so you're rooting against USC today?
Yes, I need USC to lose. If USC loses, I mean, they're losers. They're going to lose. And I think at that point, I become the winner. I was number one yesterday, but now it doesn't feel like I'm number one anymore. I've dropped to like 34.
Yeah, they'll fluctuate. At this point, though, these games are worth so much in points.
Points, yeah.
So
So
we'll see. But don't worry, people. If you're concerned that D might win and take all the money, he can't actually do that. Well, he technically could. But.
All right, everyone. That's it. That's all we got.
All right.
Ass and thighs.
Let's see what Satoshi comes with.
Yeah.
Peace.